Hey, welcome to my journey, my frugal journey. Today is Frugal Friday. There's not much to talk about, so this is probably just going to be more of a chat. If you notice I'm in the car, it's because I'm going down to the garden. Holly and them is going on vacation this week. It's a work trip for Nathan that they're stretching out since they got Jacob and they got family up there. They're going to Illinois. His conferences or whatever they are in Chicago, and their family is nearby somewhere, the family members. So I think Holly's going to stay with them, and well, Nathan too. I'm not really sure, but I told her, because it's watering day, it'll need to be picked. I told her don't worry about it. I'll come down there, even if we got to come back Saturday. I'll come down there today. I don't want her out there worrying about the garden when she's trying to pack and finish up what you have to do before you go on a trip. You know how it is. So that is where I'm headed. Now, as far as the frugal part goes, I have not written down but one thing this week. We can add bringing my own drink on the way. Iced coffee. It's not that I saved money bringing it, because I wouldn't have bought it anyway. So by bringing it, I saved money if I were to stop, but I didn't save money as far as replacing this with a bought drink, because I wouldn't buy a drink. So it's more of a convenience thing where I don't get thirsty, and then, well, I guess I could say that way, because then I might be tempted to stop and get me a drink if I don't bring a drink, because I'll get down here and I'll get hot. Oh my gosh, it's already so muggy here this morning, and I'm leaving at 6:30, because I think I told you all the other day it's a 2-hour ordeal, hour round trip and an hour watering and then picking, which I don't know what they'll be to pick, but we'll see. We're dealing with blossom rot on our tomatoes and our peppers, so David treated those. But anyway, this week I've had Sebastian. I don't know, I think what day was it I did my squash? I did my squash, and I made some pickles. I've had things that I've done for so many of the days, and then the weekends they get conglomerated with, you know, doing this, going down yonder, this, that, and the other. And so I didn't really write down anything, except for one thing is I made homemade bubbles for the boys. Holly and Jacob come up one of them days that I had Sebastian, and one of y'all mentioned when I was talking about being out of bubbles, and I was looking for some at the Dollar Tree to make my own. Their mama used to make theirs. I'm like, oh my gosh, I used to make bubbles when mine were little. Why did I not think about it for the grandkids? And my mind didn't even go to homemade bubbles. I get, oh my gosh, that was a little bit close. People worry me when they try to act like they're going to cross the center line. I guess being out of the frugal lifestyle, I guess you would call it, it is a lifestyle, for so long, my mind for foods and things, I'm doing good on that. But then I guess for something like bubbles, I didn't automatically go towards let's make homemade bubbles till one of y'all reminded me, so I made them homemade bubbles. I had saved one of David's orange juice containers, so when they came, that's what I would put them in. And it was and I've always known Dawn dishwashing liquid is one of your best liquids for making bubbles. It was that, and back in the day, maybe Joy. Y'all remember Joy? Well, I use Dawn explicitly. Explicitly? Is that the way I'm looking for? I only use Dawn, I'll tell you that. And so I made it with Dawn and corn syrup and water. And boy, it blew some bubbles, I'll tell you what. And they didn't use as much as, I mean, they used a lot because, like, well, one time it got spilled because, you know, Jacob. And when they put is one of the big brown bubble ones with all the holes in it, they put it down in there and they swish it around, you know, and get their stuff all over it. Like, swishing it's going to get you more liquid on it than just laying it. Whatever. I let them do it. So they didn't use, I don't think, as much of this as they do the other stuff, because I think this is thicker and it lasts longer. I don't know if that's, like, I don't know how to explain it. It just seems like this lasts longer. One of their little containers lasts longer than the other ones. I don't know if it's because this is thicker, but it is thicker because of the corn syrup. But I like doubled the recipe because it really doesn't make a very big recipe. 4 cups of warm water, that's not much for bubble making with 2 boys. So that was the one big thing that I wrote down. I've done other frugal things. Fresh corn 2 for $1. Oh, you're joking me. Hey, there's this little man here. He sharpens more blades. He has a nice little garden out here to the side. His garden always looks good. He sells produce out of it. He'll pop him up a little stand right there in his driveway. Well, he's got a sign. It's a made sign. It ain't no handwritten sign. It's a made sign. Fresh corn, 2 for $1. Do you even in this universe think I'm gonna go to somebody's garden and pay them 50 cents for an ear of corn? Whether I got corn in my garden or not, I'm just telling you, 50 cents, it don't sound like much, but if you're wanting to put it up, no. If you're just getting it for supper, pop down $2, gets you some corn for supper. But if you want to buy from somebody fresh corn out of the garden to put up, you'd go broke. You're better off just buying it at the store. The stuff at the store, if you can't get fresh, if you can't afford fresh from a garden at the farmer's market or from somebody, you know, on the side of the road that sets up something at their house, frozen and canned, there you go. I mean, they're fresh frozen and they're fresh canned. So I know canned vegetables get a bad rap. Frozen, you get them more in the state that they come from in the garden, and canned is more cooked. But guess what? If you're canning foods at home, they're going to be more cooked. At least mine. Like when I do green beans, which I'm not going to have any green beans to can this year unless I go to the farmer's market and buy some, and I guarantee you there'll be more than I want to pay. I'll just keep paying 64 cents for a can of them at Walmart and be done with it. But the way I can them, I cook them. I give them a good cook before I can them. I don't raw pack my green beans. I want them partly cooked when I dump them out of my jar, because we cook our green beans to death. And I ain't got time to stand there all day and cook green beans, because we don't eat them things crunchy or crispy or crisp tender. None of that. We like them done. We like them falling apart done. So, but if you want something closer to the way it is picked, go frozen. If you want something more cooked, go canned. But they're both the way they say that they're manufactured is they're both done fresh from the garden. Not that the garden's outside the manufacturing plant, they pick it and take it straight in. Not that kind of fresh. But when they do their harvesting, then they harvest it all, take it straight to the manufacturing facility, and then they get on it and do whatever they have to do to it. So I don't think the reputation that canned food and frozen food has is warranted. I don't think there's anything wrong with those foods, and if that's the foods you eat, if you don't want to buy fresh, listen, I'm here to tell you, when we buy this fresh produce that's not been frozen or canned, it's likely not as fresh as what is in the can and the freezer, because they pick it, then they ship it, and then it sits in their cooler, and then they replenish their shelves as they use it up. Then they take more out and put it out, and sometimes you see the fruits and vegetables are not fresh when you go to buy them, so they've set out probably longer to be sold as fresh produce than the processed fruits and vegetables set out. So you can take that and do with it what you will. Like tomatoes. Now I don't know how they do canned tomatoes. I've never looked that up. We pick ours red. I have seen some things on YouTube that says, don't pick your tomatoes red. And they pick them, just pink and let them ripen. Well, we do that too if we're afraid we're going to lose it, or if we need to stage how many we're getting. Let's say we're getting too many to eat and we're not canning or something, which if our tomatoes make it, I'll be canning. If they make it and then they put anything on, I'll be canning my tomatoes. But we pick them red. We don't let them over ripen on the vine, but we like to pick them red when we can. Sometimes it does warrant you to pick them kind of pink and let them ripen when you need to stage them. But so I don't know how canned tomato products, because they're very fresh and tomatoey and red. Now sometimes you'll get some of them diced tomatoes that's not real red. Oh, there's my light. I was fixing to look at y'all and talk a minute, and then my light turns. But for the most part, you get nice red, juicy, flavorful tomatoes in the can. I don't know of any frozen tomato products, so I don't know how fresh were those picked. Because, if they pick tomatoes, let's say out on the west coast to ship over to the east coast during the winter, they're going to pick them not ripe because they got to survive the trip. And then I've heard that they also gas them, true or not, y'all can let me know, to speed the ripening up for them to get to the store. But as far as canning goes, I don't know, in the can for the store, I don't know if they let them ripen fully. If that's one of those, because they're going to pick the green beans and they're going to take them to the manufacturing plant, and the manufacturing plant's going to can them or freeze them. I wonder if they do freezing and canning at the same facilities. Good question. Because you can't pick a green bean and then let it ripen. It ain't gonna work. You pick it before it's ready, then it ain't never gonna be ready. So I wonder how fresh. Well, it'd be fresh, but if it has to ripen over a week, I don't know. Does anybody know? I didn't know we was going to spend so much time talking about canned tomatoes, but here we are. So, anyway, Sebastian stayed a couple days, and he's a mess. He's 7, and you want to watch me play my game? I said, yeah, come on. And he's a big boy. He'll get up there and lay on me on the chair, and I'll watch him play his game, and we'll talk about it. Just attention. And so sometimes he wants to watch his YouTube videos, and what he does is he goes in there and lays in the floor in the kitchen with his pillow and a blanket, and lays on his belly and watches. I told him, I said, do you want to lay in there? He goes, yeah, I like it. I'm like, are you sure? He goes, yeah, I like it. I'm like, okay. So that's his spot in there in the kitchen floor, over in the corner of the, what did Judy tell me that was called? She said hers was a island, and mine is a, oh my gosh, what did Judy say it was? Because it's out from the kitchen and it's L-shaped. No, she told me what you called it, because there was a video I was talking about. I don't never know what you call it, counter the bar of the island. I never know, and she told me and I done forgot. Anyway, he gets over there in the corner of that, so I guess it's like his little fort area, you know. Listen, did y'all's youngins like forts? Boy, mine did. I think every youngin likes a good little spot that's theirs, little, you know, secret fort area. Holly used to have a big old box. I don't know what we bought. Dishwasher, so I don't know. Boy, she got that thing decorated up. She got her a mailbox, and she would come in there and tell us we had to write her letters. So we'd write her letters and put them in her mailbox. And Lord, it ain't no wonder Jacob plays so independently, because his mama did. And Sebastian is just like his daddy, because his daddy loved, he came up when computer games were, well, they were popular with Atari and stuff with us, but then they started getting more advanced, you know, as he started coming up. And then he got onto the computer because the computers started coming out, you know. And so he's a digital person. Would you say digital? Oh Lord, I just ran that red light. That thing was hardly even yellow when I went under it. Actually, there ain't no pop-up back there. And then Holly came up. I mean, she plays games too. Don't get me wrong, she loves her games, but she did a lot of independent, playing school, playing store, playing baby dolls, you know. RJ played until he discovered the computer. He played out in the pasture in the back. He had a machete. He probably was 6 years old. I don't know, 7 years old. I wouldn't let him have a pocket knife, because I told him, I said, you'll cut yourself. You'll cut your finger off. You'll get hurt. But he had a machete. No joke. He would go out there and, as he was walking through the pasture, cut down the weeds and whatnot. So, you go figure. That's still a joke. So you let me have a machete, but you wouldn't let me have a pocket knife. Well, you're not opening that machete up and accidentally, you know, slicing your finger. So, but Sebastian's just like him. He likes his digital world, his video games. He has the handheld game, and then he likes to watch his YouTube videos. He loves watching YouTube videos about games. He watches other people play games. That's a big thing on YouTube, is other people playing games and you just watch them. They'll just play through a game and they talk, and you know, they're voicing it over, and it's a big thing. And he loves watching that stuff. He'll pick a game and he'll watch it and just watch it and watch it. So anyway, well, this person's really getting on my nerves. Don't be riding my tail. It's 35. I'm going 40. I think you can lay off, because I'm not going to speed. Listen, this road to Holly's, you better not speed, because they gonna get you. They ride these roads. I've seen enough people pull it over. I ain't taking my chances. I ain't speeding down through here. So anyway, I'm gonna quit talking because I'm running out of stuff to talk about. So I apologize for this not being very frugal. As far as, oh, here's my list of things. I was frugal during the week. I did things, I reused things. I made do with what I had and stuff like that. But I just was so busy and so preoccupied that if I did do anything new, I didn't write it down, and then I forgot later. So, but I did remember to write down the bubbles, because I'm like, oh, that's a big one. I got to remember that. There might have been something else, but I didn't look at the paper before I come out. I didn't look at my book before I come out. So anyway, thank you for coming along this Frugal Friday. Let's see. I ain't got nothing in the pipeline. I ain't got nothing prepared for tomorrow or Sunday or Monday. Golly, I gotta get busy. I ain't gonna have nothing to put up. I better think of something, hadn't I? Alright, well, you know what we say when we don't know what's coming up next. See you when I see you.